Maar nou, in die ateljee, Wonderboom, a big welcome.
Hello, Jorne, how are you?
I'm fine. I was really looking forward to this interview in such a way because I'm moving, so I packed all my clothes and I've got this kiss and it's all my sentimental stuff. And this T-shirt is my Mystic T-shirt. Look at that.
Wow.
Moths. I think it's 20 years old. It was black and I decided today I'm going to wear it. Just a bit of a shared memory.
Yeah.
Shows in Mystic Boer.
Lekker.
So yeah. So we're just going to chat and we're going to get to this new album, 25 years. It's amazing. And then the tour. People really looking forward to the December tour. But let's start. We've got to talk with Martin, having a chat with John Savage. And I quote, I hate this corporate stuff like breakfast shows. And now here you are on a breakfast show. Again.
You guys fed me full of coffee. I'm still waiting for my bacon sandwich though.
I'm going to Uber something now, Uber Eats. It was so funny when I said, yes, you know, I hate this especially these morning breakfast shows. This podcast is so much fun and stuff. So now I just wanted, and
Thanks for that. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
So let's start at the beginning. I mean, you guys, the two of you, basically in my army year, 93, met up in a parking area. Sito, you were in a band, you had a voice, crap band. You didn't have the voice in your band, you had a great band. And it's been since 1993. So
Yeah.
tell me about that first meeting.
So I was in a band called Moonchild, which is like a gothic rock band. And Martin and Wade were in a band called the Eight-Legged Groove Machine. And we actually had a gig on the same night at a place called Tattoos in Randburg. It's like a rock club. And it was the first time I'd seen them, and I was like, wow, these guys, they blew me away. First of all, they could play their instruments really well, and they were so entertaining. Like, they were like the Chili Peppers on steroids. And we hit it off. We hooked up in the parking lot, and
As you do.
as we do, we had smoked a peace pipe together, and we kind of recognized that we have similar taste in music, and yeah, we kind of hit it off. And then 6 months later, I don't know what the actual story is, but one of us got hold of the other, and I needed a band and they needed a vocalist, and I joined the Eight-Legged Groove Machine.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
And you've just been going.
And we've just been going since.
We've been our longest relationship yet. We've been lucky, you know. We've had a great time, and some really cool memories over the years.
And you, like you said in an interview as well, that you're really friends, and you actually became family. That's a lot of bands. I know you liked Depeche Mode as a kid, went from U2 and then Depeche Mode, and I know those guys haven't talked to each other for years. You know, they live in different cities. They force each other to go record, and I think that's a blessing in the sky. In terms of touring and all the stuff.
No, absolutely. I think that's been our secret to our longevity, is that we're friends first. We're like brothers. We've seen the worst in each other, and we've brought out the best in each other. And I think before the music is our friendship. You know?
That's great. So let's talk about the dogs and the pets and aging, because here we are. All grey.
Yeah.
I can see go all natural. Say just leave it and dye it.
You don't get this in a book, you know?
Yeah, but is that natural?
Yeah, this is natural.
That's fantastic. You look the best. Of all of us. Oh,
I look
it's so
the
funny.
best.
Our technical team like, who's this Martin? But who's this also Martin? So just for people, it's both are Martin.
Ek is Martin.
Sito.
En is Martin.
But
En hy's Martin en ek's Martin, okay?
yeah.
But you can call me Sito.
But Sito is the nickname. And you just tell them your full name. Martin Rook.
Martin Raphael Otto.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's and Otto. People are confused with where's the Otto coming in, because you totally English and Spanish.
Yeah. So my father, he was born in the States like I was, but his parents, his grandfather was from Germany. So I mean that's German descent, but via America. And my mother's Puerto Rican. So and my father's he's a linguist, he's a translator, so he embraced the Spanish culture, the Puerto Rican sort of culture. So we just spoke Spanish at home, and Sito means junior
Yeah.
So you put it at the end of like a key, at the end of a name. And my father's name is also Martin.
Okay.
So I was Martincito. And then Cito is like a nickname for like, you know, it's just became my name eventually with my friends and my family. And then eventually that's how everybody else knows me. Cito.
Martin, where were you at school?
Westridge High School in Roodepoort.
In Roodepoort, but you studied in the UK.
Ja, ek is
But
van
what-
Engeland. Ek is van Engeland af. Is in Yorkshire gebore.
Oh, you were born in Yorkshire?
Yeah, I'm a Yorkshireman. I'm from Leeds, man.
Yeah, from Leeds. and then you went back to study in the UK.
Ja,
But just-
ek was 3 jaar by universiteit in Engeland. I studied music. I got a bursary to study in the early 90s. And when guys were still going to the army here and then, and I was like, ek gaan nie mag doen nie. I'm going to grow my hair and study
Exactly.
music.
Gaan nie mag.
So yeah, from the early 90s, I had 3 years of studying music in England, which was fantastic. And then came back here and met Wade and met Cito, and so it went, you know. But yeah, I'm fully British roots,
That's just
but
amazing.
South African.
And a lot of people maybe that don't know you, some young people watching, and then some of the older generation, people thought you from Pretoria because it's Wonderboom, and it's a lovely story of a boortjie just outside of Kroonstad. They just said,
yeah.
especially Cito being English, totally like Wonderboom.
Wonderboom.
What is Wonderboom?
And
And it works
that-
as Wonderboom in Wonderboom. Although I've seen that you discussed on one of the podcasts the word dagga.
Yes.
Instead of it made it
Terrible
such
word.
terrible word.
Terrible word.
Sounds like something's very wrong.
Yes, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Only the apartheid government could come up with such a nasty word for something so beautiful.
Something so beautiful. Dagga. Yeah.
Dagga.
Dagga.
Dagga. Sis.
Sis,
It
man.
sounds sis.
And then we're going to chat about growing old. You know, because it's just like with the dogs. If you think of 20 years back on the road, yeah. And now you've got 2 dogs, love snoring.
6.
Buck and 6 now.
4. So 3 left.
And the Boston. Oh.
Sorry, they die.
Yeah,
What
they,
can I say?
They just go. And then we share the love of a Great Dane. I've got a Harlequin, and I've seen.
Yeah, I've got a 2 Merle Great Danes,
Yes.
rescues, and then I've got a Basset and a mixed breed.
And you've met Elsa now. She's a cat fanatic. So you've got the cats as well.
Yeah, I've got
with
5
the dogs
cats.
and birds. So that combination, how the hell do you keep peace in the house?
Well,
The house
there-
is in pieces.
it's in pieces, exactly.
The birds are in pieces.
Yeah, that's a sore point. But
Don't do that. Don't do that.
yeah, look, we live. You know, we have this beautiful sort of coexisting culture at home, but it's crazy. I mean, animals are animals, and they do what they do. And we've just recently got a rescue kitten that we picked up on the way to a COVID test a few months back. And she actually hangs out with the dogs. She just and she gives them a hard time. She just messes them up, and she's like so cool with them. So they coexist, you know.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a lot of questions. We've got to get to the album and the tour. Kom maar bly net daar sit. Ons gaan nou verder gesels. So bly ingeskakel vir die res van hierdie gesprek saam met Wonderboom. Welkom terug hier by die groot ontbyt. Ons het so 'n kort segment nog met Wonderboom en dan 'n lekker lange. So welcome back, guys. You didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's quickly talk. We're going to get to COVID and we're going to get to the new album and the tour. But let's talk about, again, growing old. You know, comparing yourself, it's been 25 years now. And I know, like Martin, you stopped drinking a couple of years ago. Lifestyle changes. I mean, sometimes you can feel you're getting old or your health is more important. So compare yourself, let's say, that first 5 years of Wonderboom to who are you now? So let's start with Martin. Wildcat.
A lot more sober,
Yes.
a lot more level-headed, a lot more jaded, a lot more. I'm a better musician, definitely, naturally, or you should hope to be.
Yeah, I don't.
But I've also become a much chiller person than I ever was in my early 20s, where you learn to accept things. You learn to sit back and go, okay, cool, this is where I'm at, or this is what I want, or not trying to. I felt in my early 20s I used to try push things a lot, or try get people to join me on this thing, and then you eventually relax and you're like, everyone do what they want, you know, and your life will take care of itself.
And Sito, you said somewhere that you're so glad you married the right woman. Otherwise, it would have been chaotic. But compare yourself, just like those years to where you're now.
I think in many ways I'm still very much the same. I still like to have a good time. I still appreciate the fine things in life. I've always been a coffee fanatic, so that's still kind of happening. But, I realized, it took me a long time to realize that I had to get my act together. Especially when it comes to work and finances and being responsible. And I still do stupid things, but, that with old age, my memory is even worse than ever. My eyesight is going. But I still carry on like I did in my early 20s in many ways,
Yeah.
He can vouch for that,
Still standing strong.
Theo's has the constitution of an ox. It's a Spanish-German blood, clearly.
Yeah, definitely. Huh?
Yeah, my wife gets frustrated sometimes, like after we've had a hardcore party weekend or something. She's like, and I'm up the next day still.
She's down.
Making coffee, and she's like, she writes the whole day off kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's wrong, baby? But yeah, I'm very glad I married when I did and who I did, because I think, a lot of times I've seen a lot of my friends, they change, they get married and they change, and the relationship, whether it's for the better or for the worse, they change their ways. And my wife is very supportive. She has lots of mutual tastes. So I think I definitely got the right one.
Do you do yoga and jog with her, or do you just do yoga or just jogging?
I have actually slackened out,
Okay.
and quite a bit. I do cycling occasionally, but I've become quite a studio rat, where I spend a lot of time in the studio, just getting work done and all of that. And then of course the zookeeping, it just keeps my schedule so busy. I just feel like I'm constantly feeding and cleaning up after these freaking animals.
It's so much fun. We're going to talk about highlights. Again, after this long time to punt this album, you took me down memory lane last night. It was just fantastic. And even if people don't know you, I want to motivate them to go and say, listen, go check out, listen again. I mean, it's like, there's always a new crowd. So bly skakel vir jou nuus vertrek hè, en dan gesels 'n bietjie oor hierdie toer ook wat op pad is. As jy net ingeskakel het, ons gesels met Wonderboom. Welcome again. So before we get to the album and the tour, let's just quickly talk about COVID. Luckily, you guys, besides Wonderboom, you've done amazing work from ads to production to solo projects. And then came COVID. Sito, you said somewhere it was, that is a difficult word for me. Cathartic. So, discuss.
So,
Cathartic.
It was cathartic going through all of our archives and what we've done in the past. But I think because of our various projects, it kind of made us reassess. Because, once the machine goes and you're gigging and you're just on the road all the time, you don't really have the time to get back into the studio and actually work on the things that you need to finish, the creative things. And, that goes for Wonderboom as well. Martin and I, during COVID, we spent a lot of time together just finishing the projects and songs that we needed to do. And then, obviously our various side projects and the other things that keep us going. But, I feel a lot for the artists that rely only on live performing. The theater industry itself, they've taken the biggest knock because a lot of those actors and dancers and all that, they rely solely on productions, and everybody's had to just, adapt and take on other jobs and take on other careers and other lives. But somehow we've managed to, individually managed to stick it out. You know, it's been hard, but you know, who hasn't been affected?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, everyone in the entertainment or events industry is just. I think where we were lucky as musicians and speaking to other musicians that were purely in bands, we've, as you said, done side projects. We do commercials and we do kind of production stuff. We both have studios. So we were very lucky in that way, in that, yes, we weren't allowed to gig live, but we could access the other facets of what we do in our day-to-day thing. So it wasn't just relying on Wonderboom or the live gigs. Luckily, we had this other thing. But yeah, it was difficult for the whole world. I don't think anyone got off scot-free, you know.
Definitely. And then 25 years with the special anniversary edition album. You know, that's what, like you said, looking, and then it forces you to look back. And you're going to perform, I think, a new song?
Yes.
So let's talk about the new song before we get to
Cool.
to the album. What's the song about? I don't know, it's Prodigal Son.
It's a song for me, not specifically about anything, but it's got a homecoming message, a feeling of returning to something. It's also got a very introspective sound.
Yeah, it's like a
kind of
reflection,
reflective song.
reflection on you know, on our journey individually since we started our whole musical journey. You know, leaving our, it's very metaphorical in many ways, and it's kind of like a dream state, but it's definitely reflecting on the life that I have lived, that he's lived, since leaving our home origin, you know, home of origin, and just seeing what's happened. And in many ways, it was like, because the song started, we started working on the song before COVID hit, and we put it on the back burner until, and we released other songs and all that in between. And then when we readdressed the song, it was like, wow, this is crazy, but it's actually, it was kind of prophetic in many ways. And when we released it, it just felt right. It also, because of the way, you know, everybody's sort of become isolated and insular in the way that we consume music and the way we, I think everybody's been sort of self-reflective. And in the music itself, like, we're so used to writing in the past for the dance floor, for the live crowd. And I felt like with this song, with Prodigal Son, we've kind of written it for the person who's sitting at home with their headphones or their earphones in their own space. So it's not about this hard energy. It's like, it's more like ear candy, and it's more sort of ethereal and ambient. So, and we've never really written songs like that before. So it's a combination of the way the song came together was just a combination of elements of what we were going through, the seeds that were planted, you know, a while back, and then of course the beautiful message in it.
Okay, so as a band, still, your favorite song to perform, Martin? Which still a favorite? If the song comes up, go like, no, I'm gonna rock that.
There's a lot for me. I still love performing Wonderboom stuff, no matter what. But sure, something like Never Ever, I'd never get tired of performing that song. Probably maybe because of the appreciation or the feedback you get back every single time you play it, you know. Something like Charlie is super fun. You know,
Yeah.
it's just super fun just because everyone gets on the boat as such,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, I think for us, what turns us on about performing, especially the older songs, is the crowd response. You know, you could feel the connection, and you know, as soon as Martin starts playing, like say the opening riff of Africa or something like that, and it's crazy because it's not like a hard song. It's not like a, you know, a hard rock song. It's like a song on its own. Obviously, it's the Jaluka cover that we did, but you could just feel like the response from the crowd, like, oh, Africa, you know, and then the way it builds dynamically, and then when the chorus comes in, and you know, so I think a lot of the dynamics play a role. I'm really loving playing a lot of the newer songs, and not that I don't like the older songs, but I feel that, you know, when you're going for 25 years as Wonderboom, it's important to keep that creativity going and moving. It just motivates us and it inspires us. We definitely aren't the kind of band that just wants to sit on the nostalgia, you know. But
even I think with the best of, you know, if we had to put a new track on there, otherwise it was just a nostalgic, like a best of album. The fact that there is a new track on there shows that we're making new tracks.
New tracks.
You know,
Exactly.
and we have never stopped making tracks because we're still motivated by music and what we still have things to say.
Yeah.
We still want to say, we still have music we want to present to the world. We still have things we want to say to the world, whether it be something with substance or whether us be just going, there's things we want to say.
And musically, for me, like I get bored quite easily. So if I'm not performing or listening to something new and fresh, then I get switched off. So just keeping it fresh for myself and for ourselves, that's the beautiful relationship that we have with music.
And that's my next question, because I didn't realize you taught Art Matthews to play guitar, and you went to school together.
Very loosely, yeah.
Yeah, so very loosely, and this teacher, you shared a musical teacher, and yes, it's so funny. But and then also the people you look up to. How long do you still want to make music, like Keith Richards? You know, that's why I say it's new stuff still.
For me, how long is a piece of string, you know, like I personally, I don't see myself ever stopping playing.
Yeah. No, that's who you are.
That is, for me, music is my life.
It's like an infinite contract that we have. And I think whether we perform it live, like sometimes I look at myself, I'm like, how long are you going to carry on shaking your tush on stage like you're a 20-year-old, you know? And the answer is until I fall over or I can't, you know? It's just, and the cool thing is that the music, for me, the music that we create and that we write makes me want to dance, makes me want to move, so I can't help it, you know?
Also, we're not pop stars.
Yeah.
We're too old to be pop stars.
Exactly.
We were never pop stars.
No.
We've never had to chase that thing. You
can just be yourself.
We fortunately, we bought ourselves a Wonderboom license 25 years ago to do whatever the hell we like, and we have used that license a lot.
So the longing for big crowds. I mean, highlight opening for Guns N' Roses. You know, who do you want to open for besides them? In terms of, that was one of the biggest shows you performed.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like these are beautiful opportunities that have fallen, you know, on our path. We opened for Simple Minds. We opened for Live when they came out, and I think not that we will ever take it for granted opening for big bands, but you know, I think our big dream is to have our own crowd like that, you know?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's still wonderful doing like the big festivals like Opi Kopi and all of that, where there's a nice contingency of people that love your music and other bands as well. But you're kind of like all there for the same thing. And opening for Guns N' Roses was at this stage of our career was a beautiful experience. It was a life-affirming experience, and definitely the biggest crowd we've ever played to, something like 60,000 people, and they were so lovely. They were just so cool. Yeah, people were really on our side that night, which it can be difficult as a support band, because you, in the grading of where you are, you're lower than the stage sweepers.
Yes, they put the sound a bit softer.
In the order of proceedings, you know, but everyone was behind us. We really felt like South Africa was behind us that night, without a doubt, you know.
We're gonna listen to that song after this ad break, and as jy nou hierdie Desember tour, Ride the Wave Summer Tour, as jy in die volgende plek is 3 Desember, dis Music Kitchen PE, 2 Januarie St. Francis Brewing Company, en dan ook Nysna 4 Januarie, Pringle Bay Hangklip Hotel 5 Januarie, 6 is Heroes Restaurant Cape Town, 7de Café Roo Noordhoek, 8 Januarie Daisy Jones at Stellenbosch. Dis wie vir jouself 'n vakansiereël. It's very, very clever. Looking forward to the performance. We'll chat to you now.